Imagine your favorite evening hike, the one that brings you peace and serenity. Now, picture that same hike turning into your worst nightmare. Claire loved her evening hikes. They were her escape from the chaos of life. But tonight, the forest had other plans. What would you do if the trail vanished, leaving you lost and alone, with only the whispers of the forest to guide you? Brace yourself for a story that will send shivers down your spine and keep you on the edge of your seat. Stay with us as we unravel the mystery of the lost path and discover the fate of those who ventured too deep. Welcome to Nightmare for Giggles. If you dare to enter the darkness, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Let the terror begin. Claire always loved her evening hikes. They were her escape from the stresses of daily life, a chance to clear her mind and connect with nature. The forest was her sanctuary, a place where she could leave her worries behind. Tonight, however, felt different. As she set out on her usual path, a sense of unease gnawed at her. The trees seemed denser, the air colder. Halfway along her route, the trail she had followed countless times before suddenly vanished. Panic set in as she realized she was lost. She turned, trying to retrace her steps, but every direction looked the same. An impenetrable wall of trees. The familiar path had dissolved into a maze. As darkness fell, Claire's anxiety grew. She could feel the forest closing in around her, the shadows lengthening and deepening. The sound of her own breathing was loud in her ears. But then she noticed something else. Whispers, indistinct and unsettling, drifting through the trees. The whispers grew louder, more insistent, but she couldn't make out any words. Claire quickened her pace, her heart pounding in her chest. The once familiar surroundings now felt alien and threatening. She stumbled upon a clearing, her breath coming in ragged gasps. In the center of the clearing was a circle of old photographs, scattered on the ground like some macabre display. She hesitated, then knelt down to examine them. Her blood ran cold as she recognized the faces in the photographs, all hikers who had gone missing in this very forest. Some were recent, others decades old. Their images faded and yellowed with time. And then, her own face stared back at her from the most recent photo, taken only days ago. Claire's scream echoed through the forest, but the trees swallowed the sound. She backed away from the circle of photographs, her mind reeling. The whispers had grown louder, almost deafening, and she realized they were coming from the shadows at the edge of the clearing. Figures began to emerge, moving slowly and deliberately. Their eyes were hollow, their faces twisted in expressions of eternal torment. Claire stumbled backward, her terror mounting. The figures closed in, surrounding her. She could feel their cold, unearthly presence pressing in on her. "Stay away from me," she shouted, her voice trembling with fear. The figures didn't respond. They moved closer, their eyes fixed on her. Claire's mind raced, searching for a way out, but there was none. She was trapped. The older woman who stepped forward seemed more distinct than the others. Her face was lined with sorrow, her eyes filled with a resigned sadness. She reached out a hand to Claire, her voice barely a whisper. "It's too late," the woman said. "You're one of us now." Claire's heart sank. She felt a coldness seeping into her bones, a numbness spreading through her body. She tried to scream, but no sound came out. The figures closed in, their hollow eyes piercing her soul. As the darkness enveloped her, Claire's last thought was a haunting realization. She had become one of them. The next morning, the forest was serene in the light of dawn, the horrors of the night concealed beneath a veneer of tranquility. A new hiker, a man in his 30s, set foot on the trail, completely unaware of the lurking danger. He whistled a tune, his backpack slung casually over one shoulder. He stopped abruptly at the edge of the clearing, his eyes catching sight of the photographs scattered on the ground. Curiosity piqued, he knelt down and picked up one of the images. His expression turned to one of confusion and then alarm as he recognized the faces of the missing hikers. The man glanced around nervously, the silence of the forest suddenly oppressive. He dropped the photograph and stood up, backing away slowly. The whispers began again, faint at first, but growing louder. He turned and fled, the forest seeming to close in around him, the trees a blur as he sprinted down the trail. The whispers followed him, growing in intensity until he stumbled and fell, crashing to the ground. When he looked up, he found himself surrounded by the same hollow-eyed figures that had taken Claire. They stared at him, their expressions unreadable, their presence suffocating. He scrambled to his feet, heart pounding, and ran, not daring to look back. The forest, once a place of solace and peace, had become a prison for the lost souls who wandered its depths. Claire, now one of them, stood among the trees, her eyes hollow and empty. She watched as the new hiker fled, knowing he would be the next to join their ranks. The forest swallowed his screams, the whispers growing louder as the cycle continued. And so, the forest remained, a silent, watchful entity, claiming those who dared to venture too deep, their faces forever etched in the circle of photographs, a grim reminder of the dangers lurking within. Came to a chilling end. But the forest remains, ever watchful, ever hungry for its next victim. If you enjoyed this spine-tingling tale, don't forget to hit the like button and share your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear what you think. Subscribe to Nightmare for Giggles for more haunting stories and terrifying tales. Hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Check out these other spine-chilling tales to keep the nightmares going. And remember, the forest is always watching. Until next time, sleep tight. Sweet dreams.